Unbox, test, review.
Hello, today I'm testing the Zoom H5 4-track portable recorder. I'm going to test it both with the mics that are attached and come with it as standard. They are actually removable and replaceable by other Zoom options, and additionally a number of other microphones which I'll detail in a minute. Firstly, I'm going to unpack it and show you what's inside, etc. But the reason I got the Zoom was to replace this Zoom H4n handy recorder, which I used extensively to record my band and on location. Found it very, very useful. An excellent little recorder, but unfortunately it's dead. And the reason it's dead is I had a flood. The flood water made the room very, very damp. It seems to have affected this. That's the only reason I can find. I've tried it with new batteries. I've tried it with the power adapter. The thing's just completely dead. I need it. It's a very useful thing. So I went for the Zoom portable recorder instead. So let's take a look at what's inside the box. A windshield, charging cable I would assume, some batteries, the recorder itself, and instruction booklets. Okay, so let's take a look at what's inside the Zoom box itself. Okay, there's the recorder. Put it upside down, of course, and that's what it looks like. I'll put the batteries in and then we'll come back and have a look at the features. Okay, so I've got batteries in it now. The switch to turn it on is at the side. You press and hold like most Zoom devices and a message comes up. Okay, these are the microphones that are built in, and it's basically 4-track. You've got left and right, which attaches to those microphones, and 1 and 2 for the XLR and combined jack inputs on the bottom of the unit. And we're going to try plugging different microphones into those later. On the side we've got USB connector, charging cable, volume, headphone mic 3.5mm, a line out, and on the other side an area for your SD card. I've already put an SD card in there, it doesn't come included. That's a little bit fiddly, to be honest with you, but getting that back in. Okay, you've got to push it down before you push it in. Menu button, up and down, control the menu, a remote, and then a button on each side which releases the microphone module. And as I said before, other microphone modules are available for this particular unit, including shotguns and large diaphragms, etc. Let's pop that back on for the moment. Okay, so I'm going to do a number of things. I'm going to do a recording, testing just using the mics, and then we're going to try out some other microphones which I'll detail in a minute. On the front panel, we've got a stop. This is the playback. And then to activate the microphones, we've got left, right, 1, 2, and record. So I'm going to put left and right on. You only have to hit one and they both come on. We've got a volume control there. As you can see, the VU meter is, I hope you can see, is going up and down. So if I hit record now, it is recording from those two microphones. And the audio you can hear now is coming from those two microphones. So I'm going to hold it like that so it's pointing towards my mouth and just basically talk and pick it up on those two microphones. We have a level adjustment here as well, so we can take that down a little bit. We can adjust the levels based on the incoming sound. Okay, so the sound you can hear right now is from those two microphones. I'll now turn it towards my voice. I banged it on the table again. I turn it towards my voice and back again. Now, I'm not sure if there's any handling noise coming through those microphones, but we can test that out. I will shortly be testing a range of other microphones, and I'll show you those now. So we're going back now to the camera microphone. So these are the 6 microphones that I'm going to feature and test with the Zoom H5 handy recorder, one at a time. We have from left through to right, starting with the Rode M3 condenser mic. That has an impedance of 200 ohms. We have a very old and constantly wired Shure Unidyne B model 515 SA, and that's quite high impedance, but I'm not sure what the impedance of that is. But it's a working microphone, even though it's probably 1960s. An RSQ dynamic mic. That's a P20 RSQ mic, and that's got an impedance of 400 ohms. We have an ADK A51S condenser mic. That's quite a large diaphragm one, and that has a built-in pad and also low frequency cut. We have a Tect UDM 100 cardioid mic with an impedance of 600 ohms, and the last one is a vocal mic, but I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't have a branding on it, and I've no idea what the ohmage is. So they're the 6 mics that I'm going to try with the Zoom. Okay, this is the test for the Rode M3. You're currently hearing audio from the camera. I'm going to switch across now. Okay, the audio you're hearing at the moment is the recording from the Rode M3. My mouth is approximately 14 to 16 inches away from the microphone, and I'll try and do every single microphone at that distance. I may have to adjust the input level to the H5, which I have done in this case. It's currently at level 6. Roughly just over midway, and hopefully you can hear the quality of the output from the Rode M3 microphone into the H5 handy recorder. I'm going to now switch to the next microphone. Okay, so this is camera sound again, and this is the second microphone. This is the ancient Shure Unidyne B. It's high impedance. It's a model 515SA, and you're hearing camera sound at the moment, and I'm going to switch across as soon as I start to record. Okay, now you are hearing the audio from the Shure Unidyne. Now, quite a lot of hiss on this particular recording. It seems to me a little bit of buzz. Now, I'm not doing any post-processing in Final Cut, which I use to do my video editing. Same distance away from the microphone, and that's the Shure Unidyne B. Okay, so we're back on the camera microphone, and this recording is with the RSQ dynamic mic model P20, and it has an impedance of 400 ohms. So I'm going to start to record on the Zoom. Now the audio you can hear is from the RSQ dynamic mic model P20, an impedance of 400 ohms. I have turned down the input level just slightly from the last microphone. I'm hoping that's nice and clear. There's less hiss, but I have a feeling that was because I had to turn the input level right up in order to get the Shure to give me a decent signal. This microphone is only a very cheap one, an RSQ. I think it was less than £30, but a reasonably good sound, I think. Okay, this is the camera mic again. We now have placed the ADK condenser mic, the large diaphragm condenser mic. I've got the pad set to 0 dB. I've got the equalization. I've taken the low cut off. Now normally that would be in a suspension mount, but I didn't have one that I could fit on the table to film, so it's just resting against the microphone stand. Now I've had to switch fountain power on for this particular recording, and I'm going to switch to the H5 now. Okay, so the sound you can hear now is the ADK microphone. Very nice and clear as far as I can tell. I'm monitoring it on headphones at the moment, and yeah, sounds really good. I had to switch channel 1 to 48K phantom power. I'm about the same distance away as the other microphones, and yeah, very nice sound. I really like the ADK, I really rate it. I use it for vocals. That's the ADK, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch in the low cut. Okay, so that's low cut switched in. Not sure you can hear a big difference. That's the low cut. You can also switch in the minus 10 dB pad. That obviously makes a massive difference, and I'm having to talk a lot louder in order to get the level, obviously. So that's the ADK. Right, so this is the second to last microphone. You're listening to the camera at the moment. This is the camera microphone. But I'm going to switch to the Tect UDM 100 cardioid. This has an impedance of 600 ohms. So you're listening to the Tect now on the H5 Zoom, or the Zoom H5 handy recorder. I think this was a very cheap microphone, and it probably shows from the sound quality, which is certainly not as good as a couple of the other microphones from what I can hear in my monitoring headphones. So that's the Tect. Okay, listening to camera audio again. This is the last microphone I'm doing. I haven't got a brand name on it, but in actual fact, I've always rated it. It's quite a good microphone for vocals. I use it in the studio. I need to just adjust the level a little bit there. There we go. And I'm going to start the recording. Okay, so now you're listening to the audio on the non-brand microphone, the unbranded one, but I've always quite rated this one. It's always been quite good for vocals, practicing in the studio with the band. Yes, I quite rate this microphone, even though there's no brand on it. I have no idea who makes it or what the impedances or anything like that. I quite like this microphone, and it works well, I think. I'm hoping it's picking it up nicely on the Zoom H5, and this is the last one of the test. Hope you've enjoyed listening to these microphones. So that's 6 different microphones that we've tested today with the Zoom H5. I'll give you my personal opinion when I've done the post-production and listened to the various outputs from the various microphones. I'll let you know what I think as far as my favourite is concerned. The 2 microphones I'd suggest using with the Zoom H5 from the microphones I've tested are the Rode M3, which is a condenser microphone. The interesting thing about the Rode M3 is it has the option of using a 9-volt battery internally or phantom power, 48 volt phantom power. And you can see a little red light flicks on. The interesting thing about this is there's a suspended microphone capsule inside, and comes with a windshield, comes with a nice case, and it needs its own holder because of the width of the actual microphone itself. Now, I've used this for miking up cabinets, for miking up drum kits and various other activities. I've also used it for vocals. It does handle vocals very nicely. The only thing I would say about this one is it's quite a heavy microphone if you're using it on a boom or anything like that. So I wouldn't use it out in the field necessarily. I'd prefer to use a shotgun microphone for that. Unfortunately, at the moment I don't have any shotgun microphones. I only really use microphones in the studio. This particular microphone I would rate. They cost about £75 and you can still buy them. I'd highly recommend that one. This works very well with the Zoom. The second microphone that I'd recommend using with the Zoom, because of its warm tone and lovely sound, is the ADK 51S Type V. And this is a German-made large diaphragm condenser mic. And it's a great mic for the studio because not only can you take the bottom end off, but also it's got a 10 dB pad. It's a large diaphragm microphone. And I found that very, very useful for miking anything like guitars, fretted instruments, drums, bass, guitar cabinets, all kinds of things, virtually any instrument. But I've also used it extensively for vocals, and I find it very good for vocals. This one pairs with the Zoom very well, but obviously it's a studio microphone. You can't be expected to use that out on location. Highly recommended though, lovely tone, lovely pickup. You can see there, I think, just reflecting from the light, the large diaphragm, and recommend that to anybody. Not quite sure how much these are nowadays. I think when this was bought it was about £180, something like that. Very nice microphone, and good in a suspension mount obviously, and I'd highly recommend that for using with the Zoom. But again, it's not a location microphone. So they are the 2 microphones that I would recommend using with the Zoom H5 4-track portable recorder. If you have any observations or different opinion from my conclusions, please comment below. If you've enjoyed this testing of the Zoom H5, please subscribe to the Gear channel, as I'll be posting lots more tests soon.
Gear Unbox Test Review.